And ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another episode of the Rotohackers podcast. My name is AJ Herschel, also known as the Kid, and right over there, you've got Judah Buddha. And just because I know he hates it, I'm gonna give him the floor just for a second and just give it to him.
Dance.
Oh, he froze.
There we go. Oh, there it is. Okay, Spider-Man 3 on us.
Yeah, it's like
I froze.
3 frames per second dance. Yeah.
And then right over here, y'all already know it's the absolute stud. That is Jared. And I might be slightly going insane at this point with the quarantine, but how are you guys doing?
I'm not quite quarantined. I go to work every day, and I still see clients because some of the clients you don't want to keep in quarantine too long. So yeah, I've been out and about today, but there's still a certain staleness to the air, I have to say. I'm also. My wife challenged me to this, like, who can go the longest without eating?
What?
Yeah, so I'm on day 2. I'm drinking. I'm not allowed to have any sugar, so this is the first time I've had tea without sugar in a long time. And it actually tastes decent because I haven't had anything. So
Cheers. Jared, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a rural area, so I can go outside, or there's a park I can go to. But yeah, it sucks not being able to go to the gym or go to a mall or go to the movies or go to visit people. Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah. To compensate, I have now seen 3 seasons of The Office in 4 days, and this is a cry for help.
I spent part of yesterday, like, let's see, maybe 2 days ago, I was like, just had like the Halo 3 or different Halo game soundtracks blasting on my computer, like mixed in with some Gregorian chant. And then yesterday I recorded a vlog about trying out different men's fragrances, like colognes and stuff like that.
Okay, interesting.
A little spoiler. What one did you try?
Oh, I've tried, like, since the beginning of the year, I've tried like 30 something, like samples. Like I didn't buy them all, but I mean just like little samples that you can get. So I've tried a bunch of different ones. So I just did kind of a general vlog about it.
I'm gonna have to check that out. It's over at.
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
So this is a little bit interesting. There hasn't been much news unless you guys have seen anything. Like the Chiefs, I think, picked up XFL quarterback Jordan Ta'amu or whatever, and Ravens re-signed Jimmy Smith. But I think that was about everything I saw, honestly.
Yeah, free agency's kind of started to kind of grind to not a halt, maybe necessarily, but
a crawl.
Yeah. I don't know if. I think I saw where the Seahawks signed Philip Dorsett really cheap. So they'll have him to add to Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf.
Okay.
But I think that was about it in terms of signings. I've just seen a couple of little things that didn't really mean much of anything.
Yeah, Dorsett's interesting. So that means, like, should we be worried about Lockett?
No,
I don't think so.
No, I mean, Philip Dorsett couldn't even really. I mean, he got a few, deep balls there for a while, but I mean, even in that Patriots offense where they had nothing going on, he didn't really do much of anything. So. Well, actually, maybe we should be worried about Tyler Lockett, but not anything to do with Philip Dorsett. He was just really, I don't know if it was the injury or what, but he didn't really do a whole lot down the stretch until I think he finally showed some signs of life in the fantasy championship. But other than that, not too much.
Yeah, so while I was scrounging around trying to find some stuff, so unless you guys have anything, I've got two things for us. First off, I've got a list of questions on the upcoming fantasy season just to get your ideas on them. And then second, I have a game for us to play.
Okay.
And I'm excited to see Judah Buddha's reaction to this because it should be fun. Anyway, I guess if you guys
Now I'm scared.
if you guys don't have anything else, I'll get started.
That's all I got.
Cool. So we're moving into almost like the next big year for Josh Allen at quarterback, and Buffalo and Tom Brady is gone now, and so they don't have as much pressure in the over in the AFC East. I had to think about that for a second. But on the other hand, Big Ben's coming back to Pittsburgh. Juju's going to have a better quarterback or a quarterback throwing to him again. So for fantasy season, who do you think you'd rather have, Josh Allen and the Bills or Big Ben and the Steelers? Which would you rather? Which is like the very early predictions. What are you guys feeling between the two of those?
This might be a little lopsided. I mean, Josh Allen, hands down for me.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, I Ben at home is pretty reliable, or had been. I don't know. Now after missing a season with injury and no Antonio Brown, like I don't know what he will be like. He might still be, like a safe option when he's playing at home, but Allen with his mobility and adding Stephon Diggs. That's a easy Josh Allen for me.
Yeah. So on another note, two teams were absolutely atrocious last year, but still had some glimmers of hope. First off, it was the Lions. They're getting Matt Stafford back. They're getting Galladay again next year. And then the other one, which this may sound ridiculous that I'm even comparing them, is Miami. They've got Devontae Parker. They've got Fitzmagic for better or for worse for another year, and they have 3 first-round picks this year. So I'm curious, who are you guys more feeling for next year, Lions or Dolphins? Because I would have just thought Lions in my head, and then I remembered, oh wait, Miami's got a plethora of draft picks. So I'm curious on what you guys think there.
Lions for me for sure. I think Matt Stafford was off to. For the first half of the season, was off to a great start before he got injured. Galladay came on. They'll have TJ Hawkinson going into his second year. He should improve as a tight end. Kerryon Johnson, who knows if he can stay healthy or not, or if they may add another running back in the draft or something like that. But I like that Stafford Galladay combo, and then maybe Hawkinson as a late round sleeper. The problem with Miami is you don't know how long, you don't know what their quarterback situation is going to be. You assume that they're going to draft someone pretty high, and Fitzpatrick plays probably still part of the year, and then they probably transition to that guy eventually. Although if they take Tua and there's some question about his health, then maybe Fitzpatrick, starts for the whole year. But with that situation being what it is, it then makes it a little bit hard to trust their offense as a whole, their receivers and everything else. So the other thing too is as much as I was in on Devontae Parker at the end of last season, even though some people wouldn't be convinced of him, we won't name names. He may or may not be on screen at the moment. But also, Parker's had a lot of injuries over the years, and there wasn't really any competition for those balls in Miami. On top of that, he had some favorable playoff matchups. So I would still be interested in him, but it would be hard for me to really trust him. So I think maybe the one thing that could come out of Miami this year is a more reliable running back, because it was just scraping the bottom of the barrel last year. There was no one that you could trust as a Miami running back. So I think they signed Jordan Howard, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so depending on what they do there, he could maybe be sort of a sleeper running back that could outperform his draft position. But with the unknowns at quarterback and things like that, it's hard to really know what you're getting there in Miami. So he's easy Detroit for me.
Judah Buddha, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Detroit. I mean, are we talking fantasy? We're just talking fantasy.
Fantasy-wise, yeah.
So who would you like to have the most people from that team?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've always been a huge I think Galladay is going to take another step this year, closer to being the future Megatron that I think he's going to be. And I do like Stafford. And then Jones always seems to, he gets these like 5 games where he has 5 touchdowns.
MJJ. MJJ. Marvin Jones
JJ.
Jr.
Oh, MJJ. Yeah. And I don't know. I just think they have the problem. I think the Dolphins will have a dynamic team. It's just I don't know who would you be excited about getting from them because there's so many question marks. Even with the draft picks, they're not a cohesive team at this point. I think next year they're definitely going to be something to look at.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Can you imagine Tua throwing the ball? You got well, that's probably all. I don't know. I have no idea who's going to be on their team.
Well, this is a more closer one.
Real quick. Jordan Howard playing for the Dolphins. I forgot that he got taken and put over there. What do you guys think? That could be some fancy dynamo there.
Jared, do you want to take this one first?
Did you say dynamo? Did you say dynamo? Dynamo?
Fantasy dynamo.
Dynamo seems strong. I don't know if anyone has ever used the word dynamo with Jordan Howard.
His second year, I would say. There was one good year in there.
Like I said, I think he could be, outperform his draft position. Any starting running back in the NFL always is going to have a chance to be fantasy relevant. And so, especially with the Dolphins, you may have people that shy away from him based on the fact that he's with the Dolphins and the fact that he didn't really do much in Philadelphia. So, I think he's potentially worth a shot. And depending on his draft position, he could end up being sort of a steal. Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't think people. Where do you think people will draft him?
Oh, I think it's going to be low. I think it's going to be like 9th, 10th round, probably at the earliest. Just because, like Jared said, first off, you've got the fact that he just came from Philly and didn't do great there. And then second off, he's playing in Miami, where you're still going to have to play New England's defense, and you're still going to have to play Buffalo's defense. And those are 4 games that are going to be really, really tough for him. And I don't know how much people are going to trust Miami during the year. So I like Jordan Howard as a player. He's not the most versatile running back in the NFL, but I like him as a player. I think he's a solid guy. But I think his draft stock is going to be pretty low based off of new team and tough defenses he's playing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like Lamar Miller, I think last year was like typically 7th round pick or something like that. So I would think Howard at best would be like a 8th round pick or something like that, So and that's even before we know if they're going to add a young running back in the draft, which I would assume that they will. So.
Right. And I know, Judah Buddha, you've never been the biggest fan of Jordan Howard. And is it just me, or is he frozen?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if he's frozen or if he's just zoned out sometimes. So
staring into space.
Yeah.
He sees things the rest of us do not.
I see some movement.
There he is. Okay. He's still with us.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Well, until he comes back, while we wait for Judah Buddha to return, this is more of an interesting one, I think. The other two were a little bit easier to choose sides. This is a weird one. And so, here, he's back. So this is a little bit of a weird one. We all know that Bill O'Brien made possibly the worst trade in history by giving away DeAndre Hopkins to Kyler Murray for getting low draft picks and David Johnson. But the Texans still have decent wide receiver twos. They're going to have David Johnson, and they still got Deshaun Watson. You know what other team has decent talent but still isn't great? It's the Las Vegas Raiders. So I'm curious, which team's fantasy stock do you like more? One's got Josh Jacobs, and I know Judah Buddha, you're not the biggest fan of Derek Carr. And even though the other one lost Hopkins, you still got Deshaun Watson there. So in terms of fantasy value for these teams, who do you like more?
That is an interesting one.
Well, I like Josh Jacobs way more than David Johnson. I'm higher. I'm higher on Watson than you guys, I think.
I am going to say, depending on what the Raiders do with their draft pick, potentially the Raiders, because you're going to have, I think you're going to be able to get your value out of Josh Jacobs and Waller, the running back and tight end from where you draft them. Is that going to happen with Deshaun Watson? I don't know. Is that going to happen with David Johnson? I don't know. So I think at the minimum, you're going to be able to get your draft value out of those two. And then, the Raiders are sitting there at the 12th pick. CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy might be there. And I think if they draft one of those guys, they're going to be they're NFL ready. They look NFL ready to me. They look like a guy who can come in their rookie year and get, roughly 1,000 yards or so and maybe 6 or 7 touchdowns. So I think if they do that with their draft pick, for me, it would be the Raiders based on that. And the other thing is you can't really count on there's a guy like Will Fuller in Houston who Will Fuller's constantly hurt. And, when he's not been hurt, he's never really had to be the number one guy. He's always had, the other team's top corner on Hopkins, or they've double teamed, triple teamed Hopkins. Yeah. So, Houston really tried to seem to spread the ball around a lot more, throw to 2 or 3 tight ends, throw to Hopkins, Fuller, Stills, throw to the running backs, Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde. So it's a lot harder for me to trust any fantasy option in Houston, even Watson, when he's losing a guy like Hopkins.
You're not a fan of Randall Cobb then, are you?
I completely forgot about that Randall Cobb signing. That does tip it back in favor. No, I'm just kidding. Houston scares me this year.
Yeah, I think what I'm really interested to see is what Vegas decides to do at quarterback, because I know they brought in Mariota, but Carr still makes the most sense to me. But then immediately after they got Mariota, all the news outlets were like, "Oh no, Carr's going to get traded now." Doesn't make sense to me.
I don't think there's anywhere to trade him at this point, and I don't think he's going to get beaten out by Mariota. Now, maybe they choose a young quarterback in the draft, and then I don't know what the cap hit would be if they just cut Carr or something like that. That's maybe a possibility, but we'll see.
Well, we got 2 more of these for you. First off, 2 teams that almost seemingly have a lot of potential, but things just don't work out well for them. One of them is Dallas, and they've still got Cooper, they've still got Prescott, and they've still got Zeke. Statistically very good, but then on the other hand, you've got Chicago moving on to year 2. You could have Foles or Trubisky under center. You're going to have David Montgomery in his second year. You're going to have Allen Robinson in year 3. And I figure I know what you're going to say, but I'm just curious about your opinion anyway.
You want to go, Judah? You want me to take that one?
Go ahead. I'm trying to think. That's not a tougher one for me.
I'm still going to go Cowboys on that because the quarterback situation, not knowing if it's going to be Mitch Trubisky, is it going to be Foles? Even if it is Foles in Jacksonville, he was pretty shaky there. Allen Robinson should still be pretty good, but I can't really say what's going to happen with Montgomery there. And they also had that other wide receiver who started to come on, Anthony Miller.
Yeah.
Anthony Miller, who started to come on, in a passing attack where you've got a good quarterback. I mean, there's certainly more than enough to support two receivers.
Yeah.
But in Chicago, where Mitch Trubisky's going with that first read every time, I don't know. Maybe Miller starts to pull some away from Robinson and detract from his value a little. So I think I'm not tremendously high on Dallas. Amari Cooper, you never know when he's going to just not show up for a game. I don't really like his inconsistency, but I think Michael Gallup will he's going to improve. I think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be this year's Chris Godwin necessarily, but I think he could dramatically outperform his draft position. Ezekiel Elliott is always going to be solid. He may not be like a top 3 running back anymore, but you're going to get good safe production with him. Dak, I think you're going to get safe production with him. So for me, it's the Cowboys.
Judah Buddha, what do you think?
To me, it's very close. I'd like to look at their schedules.
I can actually pull that up for you real quick while you're thinking.
I know we don't know what the actual schedule is, but just the people they're playing.
Let me see. So Dallas is going to have Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Browns, Arizona, San Francisco. Looks like Atlanta, LA, Vikings, Giants, Seahawks, I think. And then,
wow.
That's not an easy schedule.
That's a tough schedule.
And then, of course, twice Eagles, twice Giants, twice Redskins.
That helps make up for it a little bit.
A little bit, but I mean, Eagles are going to have a great defense.
Yeah. And let me see. So Chicago is going to have, looks like Tennessee, LA, Jacksonville, Giants, Colts, Texans. They're going to have to play Brady's Bucks. They're going to have to play Breeze's Saints. And they're going to have the Panthers and the Falcons, it looks like, maybe.
It's not that easier.
No.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit. I'm going to go with the Bears on this one. I think they'll take a step up. I think it is a little shaky about who's going to be the quarterback. But whoever it is, I think is it the same coach? They still have the same coach?
Yeah, we still got Matt Nagy.
I think another year will help. Some cohesiveness. I think that Robinson could really be a standout this year. He was a sneaky, really good player last year for fantasy.
I was a year early on him. I was a year early because that first year in Chicago, I was all in on Allen Robinson, and that did not.
I know. Then you were like all out on him last year.
Yeah, right. Well, I ended up trading for him in some leagues, and he helped me win a couple of leagues. But last year was a good year for him. I mean, 1,100 yards, nearly 1,150, and 7 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty good production numbers.
Yeah. He was a little. I mean, he gave some goose eggs or close to it.
He did.
That were tough to swallow. But I think Montgomery can also take a step forward. I from what I saw, he has the skill. It's just whether or not he will fit into the system very well. And then Miller gets even better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, if they can settle on one quarterback, and if it is Nick Foles, I might kind of like that for fantasy.
So I've got one more for you guys, and this is the most important. 3 teams. You've got the Chargers, you've got the Falcons, and you've got the Bucks. And there is one aspect of all these teams that are changing, and it's their jersey.
Oh. Nice.
I'm eager to see. Well, actually, they released the Chargers' new logo already.
Yeah, they did.
And we talked about it last time.
Yeah. Wait, no, we talked about the Rams.
Wait, no,
we talked about the Rams. Yeah. The Chargers' new logo looks good. I'm really curious to see the Falcon. Well, I'm really mostly curious to see the Falcons because the Bucks. Yeah. Actually, I think maybe the Bucks. I want to say if there was something to the Bucks that got leaked or not. I'm not sure, but
I think there was a leak that said it's going to look similar to their like earlier 2000s ones. I think.
Yeah, which I mean the Bucks. There's no way that it can't be a dramatic improvement on what they have.
Yeah.
And so the Chargers, I don't think is going to be a dramatic. That's going to be my new word. It's a dramatic change.
Yes.
So really the one that I'm curious about, not just because they're in my home state, but I really am curious about the Falcons because I want to know if they're going to change their logo. I want to know if they're going to maybe like go back to red helmets or something like that. Because they've had, black helmets, red helmets before. So theirs is the one that I'm really curious to see. And I think they're supposed to drop it in April sometime. So could be any time.
Judah Buddha, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it is curious to me. I am more curious about the Buccaneers. Just wondering, like, first of all, everybody's seeing Brady in a new jersey. It's just going to be, weird. And I'm curious to see whether or not how different it's going to be than the Patriots jersey.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go with Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think I'm most excited to see the Falcons jersey just because I think they're the one going under the most rebranding between the 3. I mean, Chargers are sticking with the powder blue, and the Chargers have like never looked bad, so I think they'll be fine. And Bucks, unless they switch back to orange, which would be very interesting. It's not happening, but it'd be very interesting. I'd be very curious to see what happens. But Falcons one came out first, and I know that a lot of people wanted them to rebrand for a while, so I'm with Jared on this one. I'm very, very curious.
I actually just looked up an article and found a tweet where, let's see who this guy is. Joe Reedy, he's an Associated Press writer. And so he's talking about how, the Rams and the Chargers both had logo and uniform changes. I guess the Falcons will just be a uniform change.
Okay.
He says that Falcons, Bucks, Patriots, and Browns will all have uniform changes. So I'm not sure what.
What?
Yeah, I hadn't heard about because his whole tweet is about how 7 NFL teams are doing some sort of change, and that's just almost unheard. It is unheard of.
Huh.
Normally, you get 2, maybe 3 per season. So all of those teams are making uniform changes, and then I didn't even know this. He has that the Colts are doing. Here's what I don't understand. He says his first sentence lists logo and uniform changes, Rams and Chargers, and then it's just uniform changes, and then he has logo / uniform tweaks, and he lists the Colts. So I don't know what that means in terms of what is the and versus the / and he says tweaks rather than changes. So I don't know if the Colts are just some sort of little minor change, but this is actually the first that I had heard about them or the Patriots or the Browns.
Interesting. So Jared, I know you're a Colts fan, and the Colts jersey has like been almost untouched for 40 years.
Yeah. It's pretty. I mean, it's pretty good. It's like I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing a minor change. But I can't imagine they're going to do anything other than, maybe refine, if they do anything with the logo, it might just refine a little bit of kind of how the Lions changed their logo from fluffy to a slightly more menacing lion. Maybe they tweak the horseshoe a little. I don't know if they even do that, but I can't imagine that these are going to be any major changes. But now I'm really curious. Now I gotta look that up while we're talking to see when they're supposed to release that.
That is interesting. And you said Colts and Browns and Patriots. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Browns and Patriots are changing their uniforms.
What?
And
I don't know who's in charge of these decisions, but I know that the Falcons have been really good with marketing as far as stadium decisions, a lot of this marketing stuff. So if it's the same group or same person, like I expect it to be a good decision.
Yeah, I'm excited. Oh man, that is going to be really interesting. It's going to be weird to see, like, that's almost a quarter of the NFL team switching jerseys.
Yeah. So one thing they're talking about, just what I found very quickly, is talking about how, I guess, the Colts used to have blue face masks. And so they've had the white face masks. Yeah, I would be in favor of that. Yeah, bring back blue. Nice. Bring back blue face masks.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
And apparently Odell's already sported the new Browns jerseys, but hasn't revealed them yet. Okay.
Yeah, some of these old Colts uniforms are kind of cool looking. I would be. Somebody else tweeted out like just a photo of like some of the old, I think like Johnny Unitas type uniforms.
I love those.
And yeah, they've got just like a blue stripe down the pants, and then there's actually like horizontal stripes around the socks. Those actually all look really good. I would be 100% in favor of those.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what happens. What's it called? Jerseys were half the fun of playing Madden, and you just mishmashed whatever jersey you wanted to do and wear 1930s blue and yellow stripes, and it was awesome. So I'm very curious to see what teams do.
That's something I realized the other day, is that if we don't have a 2020 season or something, I'm gonna have to buy Madden to play Madden, just to like kind of give myself some sort of football content in the fall.
That might be an interesting move, that we go from like the Rotohackers doing fantasy football to the Rotohackers like just live streaming games against each other.
That would be hilarious.
That would be fun.
What if we did a fantasy, like,
oh my goodness,
and we did a fantasy had a team and somehow did fantasy based on that?
I would love that. That'd be awesome.
Did you say like have a fantasy draft with it? Could we do that? Yeah.
Like a bunch of different people.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Nice.
Awesome.
We'll have to do something, because after I'm done rioting, I'm going to need something to do.
Writing or rioting?
Rioting. Cancel the NFL, we riot.
I wasn't sure if you were going to be writing WRITINGN or RIOT.
Yes.
So yeah. You could do both. You could
multitask.
You could write a nasty letter and wrap it around a brick as you throw it through the NFL headquarter office windows.
Yep.
There.
That'd be awesome.
Dear, but be polite in the letter, where it's like, dear sir or madam, to whom it may concern.
All right. We got any more stuff, AJ?
That's all the questions I got for now. Unless you guys got something else for us, I think I'm good with those.
Let's get to the game.
All right. So this is going to take a little bit of explanation. So there's going to be 3 rounds here, and each round is going to have multiple questions. The person who gets the most points right wins the set. There's 3 sets, so best out of 3. You're going to have 3 rounds. One of them is you're going to have to know the top player from this season. The second round is you're going to have to remember who the top player from the previous season was.
Oh goodness.
And then the final round is a secret, which should be fun, which we may or may not need, but it should be exciting. And so, Jared, this is PPR as well.
Okay.
Point of perception. So I guess I'm just going to go ahead and get into this. So round 1 is top players of 2019. You are not allowed to Google anything because obviously. So PPR, 4 points per touchdown, passing touchdown, 6 for reception and rushing. So you've got the top 5 quarterbacks in the league in terms of fantasy production. They were Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, and Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
What order were they in? Whoever gets the most right gets the point. All right, both of you get a chance to answer it.
Okay.
Both of you all right, go ahead.
Lamar Miller, Dak Prescott.
Lamar Miller is not.
No. See, you shouldn't have let it. You should have just let it go. That's part of the
Lamar
answer
Jackson.
now.
Lamar Jackson.
No. It's already locked in. It's already locked in.
Come on. Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott. Oh, man. Oh, this is where it gets tough. Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott. I think it's got to be Mahomes.
Yeah, but
Okay.
will you like repeat them again? Because like I heard them too. Or is that against the rules? Like, do we have to remember them the first time you say them?
No, I think you can repeat it. I think you'd be able.
Okay, so say it again. I mean, because it'll probably help him and me too. So,
Go ahead,
will you give them to us again, AJ?
AJ.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Okay, so Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston.
Okay.
Mahomes was number 6, I believe.
Oh, okay.
He's not on this list.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that then. All right, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston, what's his name? Wilson, and then Watson.
All right, Jared, what do you got for us?
Yeah, of course, Lamar number 1. I'm still gonna go with Dak again at 2. And so then the other 3 were Mahomes.
No. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Deshaun Watson. Yeah.
Wilson.
W's.
Yeah, that is 3 W's. I'll say Wilson, Winston, Watson.
I think I switched. I think 3 was Watson.
Okay, here's the order. 1 is Lamar. Both of you get it right. Prescott was number 2. Both of you got that right.
3.
Wilson was number 3. Jared gets that one. Number 4 was Watson, and Winston was number 5. Jared takes round 1. He's up 1-0. All right, next you've got the top 5 wide receivers. They were Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, Cooper Kupp. This is PPR, 6 points per touchdown. Jared, you go first for this one.
Okay. I'm going to go Thomas and then Godwin. And you said the other 3 are Hopkins, Julio, and Kupp, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll say Julio, Hopkins, Kupp.
All right, Judah Buddha, what you got for us?
Okay, Michael Thomas. Would Godwin be? Yeah, I guess Godwin would be number 2. And then I would go Hopkins, Kupp, Julio.
All right, here was the order. Number 1 was Michael Thomas. Duh, of course. Number 2 was indeed Chris Godwin. Number 3 was Julio Jones.
Ooh.
So Jared takes that one. But number 4 was Cooper Kupp. So Judah Buddha gets that one. So Hopkins was number 5. So you guys tied 3-3 on that one. So both of you get
do we get like half points more if we get the higher one right? Over, like the higher
not
one
for this
counts
one.
more?
I don't think so.
That sounds shady.
I was just checking to see.
All right. Final round, and we've got tight ends. And I know we talked about this last week, so let's see if you guys remember. We had, in alphabetical order, Mark Andrews, Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and Darren Waller. Judah Buddha, you're up first.
Oh, gosh. These are hard.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go. Oh, man, this is really tough. I haven't looked at this one that at all.
We talked about it on Saturday.
I'm going to go. Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Andrews, Kittle, Waller. No. Travis Kelce, Andrew, Kittles, Waller, and last
Ertz.
Ertz.
All right, Jared, what you gonna put up here?
It is tough because Kittle missed games.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelce number 1.
Okay.
Kelce number 1. Waller had some duds, so I'm not going to put him too high either. I'm going to go Andrews, Ertz, Kittle, Waller.
So this is actually really funny. Both of you got one right, and it was Travis Kelce.
What?
Yes. The rest of them were Kittle was number 2.
Really?
Twice the missed games. Yeah, he's still number 2.
Huh.
Darren Waller
Number
was
3.
number 3. Believe it or not, Ertz is number 4, and Andrews is 5.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's not what I would have thought.
Yeah, Andrews got hurt near the end of the year because then they started putting in substitutions, and then Lamar was kind of spreading the ball around more, so he suffered near the end of the year. So,
but I mean, Kittle got hurt at the beginning of the year. As a huge Kittle owner, I'm surprised to know that he was number 2.
Yeah.
Although, I guess, that's weird. Okay.
All right. So that means that due to the score, Jared is up 1-0 because he got the quarterback round right, and both of you guys tied. So that's round 1-0. All right, round 2. Here we go. This is comparing this year's players to last year's players.
Oh man,
these are going to be easier. These are going to be a little bit easier. So first off, we'll start off with an easier one. So this year, of course, the lead running back was Christian McCaffrey. But the year before, Saquon Barkley took the world by storm. Which one of them scored more points? And Jared, you're going first in this one.
It's got to be Christian McCaffrey, right? I mean, my mind will be blown if Saquon outscored him last year.
Judah Buddha, what do you think?
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. It was 471 points to 385.
I mean, he had more points than most quarterbacks. So all quarterbacks, I think.
It was not close. Number 2, last year, New England's defense had a really hot start at the beginning of the year, and that carried them to the number 1 defense. But the year before, my Chicago Bears were the number 1 defense in the league. Which one of them scored more points? 2018 Bears or the 2019 Patriots?
I start?
Yep.
Nah, definitely going to Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots for me too.
And once again, you're both correct. Patriots took it 224 to 108.
They were crazy.
It was not close, and that was kind of the one I was really shocked to see that was the difference by almost 50 points. That one's just insane to me.
They almost had as much as Christian McCaffrey last year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting. Sorry, you about to say something, Jared?
No, it's fine.
All right. This is a little bit of an interesting one. Michael Thomas absolutely destroyed every cornerback in the league last year and was number one. And it's not even close. He outscored Chris Godwin, who was the number 2 wide receiver in 2019. And oh my goodness, it was not close at all. And I need to make sure I can read my handwriting on this one. Okay, yeah. So Thomas scored 374 points compared to Godwin's 276. It was almost a 100-point differential. So how many wide receivers from 2018 fit in between those two? Does that make sense? So between Thomas and Godwin,
That's tough.
how many receivers? It's just a number, and whoever gets the closest number of wide receivers gets it.
Jeez.
So tell me the split again between them.
Yeah, Michael Thomas scored 374 points. Godwin scored 276. So basically a 100-point differential.
I will say this was just my initial impression, and I'm going to stick with it because I don't think continuing to think about this is going to get me closer.
I don't know how to do that on this.
I'm going to say 3.
3 wide receivers are in between those two from 2018.
Yeah, that's what I'm
going to say 5.
5 wide receivers. Okay, so
but I know it's a lot more.
I'm going to read off the names of the wide receivers. So 276 was the floor. So in between them from 2018, there would be Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, Michael Thomas again, Adam Thielen, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike Evans. There are 9 wide receivers in between them.
Wow.
That is insane. So this is an interesting. So Judah.
So I was closest.
Yeah, Judah Buddha's up 1-0 here. Okay. This is a little bit of a weird one, and every year I make it my New Year's resolution to draft Travis Kelce for the past 2 years. That is my New Year's resolution. Somewhere I have to do it.
That's weird. I've never heard you say that.
Okay, not literally. I'm just saying. I always draft Travis Kelce. I'll say that. Kelce is one of the guys I always draft. I know, right? You wouldn't think of it. But he's been the number 1 tight end for 2 years in a row. So which year did Kelce score more in? Was it 2018 Kelce or 2019 Kelce?
Ooh.
And Judah Buddha, you're up first.
I'm up first? Oh, this is like – all right. So I know he had a rough year this year, but he was a little bit more consistent. So I'm going to go with 2019.
All right. Jared, what do you think? 19 Kelce or 18 Kelce?
Yeah, I'm not sure because I think he scored more touchdowns last year, or 2018.
Okay.
I think, but I'm not sure what. Oh, I'm going to go 2018.
Jared, you better be glad you took that split. It was 2018 Kelce.
Nice.
294 points compared to last year's 254. So you guys are tied 1-1 right now, and so this is going to be the tiebreaker. Here we go.
Tiebreaker
for this round, right?
For this round, yeah. So Lamar Jackson in 2019 put up a ton of points, and it was 415.68. In 2018, did Patrick Mahomes score more or less?
How much did he score?
Lamar scored 415.68 this year. Did Mahomes score more or less in 2018?
More. Oh.
Jared, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with more just because Judah said it, and that'll force another tiebreaker. Let's see. I'll say more. Yeah,
More. And
did he have like 425?
So Judah Buddha, you wanna? Okay, here we go. So the answer was Mahomes scored more.
Yeah.
By 2 points.
Only 2 points?
I
knew he had 400 something.
That number scared me because I was like, gosh, did Mahomes really have more than that? But I when I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Mahomes put up 417.08 to Lamar's 415.68.
Wow, I thought he had 225 for some reason. 220.
Nope.
I mean 420.
Okay, gotcha. So you guys are tied. So we're gonna have to go into a tiebreaker for this round.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
So Lamar and Mahomes absolutely blew out the competition, obviously. And the number 2 quarterback of 2019, as we established earlier, was Dak Prescott. In 2018, the number 2 quarterback was Matt Ryan. Who beat their opponent by more? Did Mahomes beat Ryan by more points, or did Lamar beat Prescott by more points? Does that make sense?
I go first this time. You can
first.
blurt it out if you want, Jared.
I'm not as confident as you were on that last.
Mahomes, definitely Mahomes.
Okay, you're gonna go Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that too, I think.
All right, here we go. And the answer is, let me just double check to make sure I'm right, actually.
I changed my answer.
I'm kidding. So the answer to who beat their opponent by more, Mahomes beat Ryan by 63 points.
Yeah, I wasn't even close.
I didn't say how many Lamar won by.
I knew Matt Ryan had a really good year, but I didn't,
Yeah. Lamar beat Prescott 415 to 337.
Oh, wow.
Mahomes beat Ryan 417 to 354. So Lamar actually beat his opponent by more.
Shoot.
Yeah.
So we got to go to another tiebreaker. Okay, I was not prepared for this. Here we go.
You weren't prepared for our ineptitude.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to be mean right now or not, because I could give you guys a kicking question, but I feel like Judah Buddha would crawl through the camera and strangle me.
If you want to, I don't know. I don't know much about kickers.
Okay, I'll do this. So, okay. You know what? Actually, no, that one's not going to work out. So, that one's not going to work either. Dang it.
Why don't we just call Jared the winner because he won the last round?
I kind of feel like I need to let Judah be the winner because I think we've established over the course of this podcast that I'm better at foresight, and so I want to let him be better at hindsight.
Okay, I see. I'll just give you guys this question for fun. So
you're a devil. You devil, you.
So in 2019, Harrison Butker put up a whopping 153 points, leading all kickers. In 2018, Texans kicker Kymie Fairbairn was number 1. Did he score more or less points than Butker? Jared is going first. Just to clarify, let's clarify. Jared's going first here. Fairbairn or Butker?
Man, you know what? Fairbairn burned me in that year where I lost. Like I had a juggernaut team, in the semifinals, that was that game against the Jets in the semifinals where he had like 20 something points.
What, in 2018 or this year?
I think it was 2018. Yeah, I mean it wasn't this year for sure. It was either 2018 or 2017. I think it was 2018.
Gotcha.
So I forever will hate him. But he had some crazy games, but I don't remember how consistent he. Now, what you said Butker's was what this year? You gave us one of those?
Yeah, Butker's point total this year was 153.
I'm gonna go with Fairbairn.
Okay, Judah
I'm
Buddha.
gonna go with Buttlicker.
EG podcast.
Kaimi Fairbairn beat him by 5 points.
The past and the future.
158 to 153.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew he had a crazy because he burned me, so that stuck in my mind.
Yeah. So just for fun, do you guys want to do the last round for fun? This is a kind of a whack round.
Sure.
Sure,
All right.
I've already won. I'm just playing with house money right now.
All right. Give him a round of applause. The absolute stud is this year's 2020 Rotohackers quiz champion. There he is. Oh, yeah. I also forgot to say the prize is whoever wins gets to rant for 1 full minute about anything they want, and we can't.
I'll have to save that for later. I'll have to come up with a good rant.
All right. Saturday, you get the mic for a full minute, and it is all you. Full minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I texted Judah Buddha earlier and asked him what was the first year that he played fantasy football. And the first year he played fantasy football was 2009. And that was 10 years ago. That's a decade ago from 2019 season. So I thought it'd be kind of funny to go back and look at the 2009 fantasy rankings.
Oh, my
Just
gosh.
for
That was
fun.
my first year.
And I know Jared, you've been playing for a very, very long time, right?
I've been playing for like 20-ish years. Yeah. Like probably right at about exactly 20 years.
My goodness.
Wow.
Okay, so we'll
I'm
see. I'll give y'all a list for this. We'll have to see. We'll have to see who gets this one actually. Okay, so in 2009, the top. No, we're not going to actually do that one yet because that would spoil a later question. There was one tight end in the top 20 of 2009. And I'll give you a hint. It was AFC. It was an AFC tight end in 2009. Name the tight end.
I think I know it.
Oh,
Yeah, because you're a Falcons fan. Am I first?
Falcons are not in the AFC.
Remind me who's the AFC.
Yeah, you. What'd you say?
Remind me.
He said to remind him
Oh.
who's in the AFC. You literally want him to list all of the teams in the
Because
AFC.
I will do it. Patriots, Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Jaguars, Colts, Texans, Titans, Steelers, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, and then there's the one division that I always forget, and I'm pretty sure it's the West.
Don't worry about it. Obviously, they're not.
No, the Falcons are in the NFC.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders. There we go.
I mean, I want to say Gronk, but I don't think he was. Yeah, Gronk. I'll say Gronk.
Jared, what do you think?
Remind me of what the question was. It was the tight end, and it was one tight end was in the top what?
Top 20. Only one tight end was in the top 20.
Top 20 in scoring.
Wait, this is 2009? I don't know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's going back a ways.
Okay. I would expect Jared to know this.
This was not my initial guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to change my initial guess because I was originally going to go with Tony Gonzalez, and then I thought about Peyton Manning and those Peyton Manning teams, and then I thought maybe it was Dallas Clark.
Dallas Clark.
So I'm going to Dallas Clark.
It was.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, because at first I was like Gonzalez, and I was like, nah, he was never like that great points wise in KC. But Dallas Clark was. So yeah.
I thought Gonzalez played for Falcons.
He did, but he wasn't like when did he get traded there? Maybe it was around 2000. No, it was.
No, it was like 2011, right? 2000. No, 2000. It was 2010.
Yeah, it was right after that or so.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, so this is going to be a funny one. In 2009, there were of course the elite quarterbacks that you know, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, etc., filling out the top 5 quarterbacks. But believe it or not, one of these 5 quarterbacks was actually in the top 5. Which one was it? Was it Chad Henne? Was it David Garrard? Was it Matt Schaub? Was it Joe Flacco? Or was it Tony Romo? Which one of these guys was in the top 5? They were number 3.
I think my guess is I think this was that crazy year where Matt Schaub had a good year.
So Matt Schaub, that's what you're going with?
That's my pick. Yeah, I've already won. I don't care. I can just throw out names.
Who did you say? Who are they?
Chad Henne, David Garrard, Matt Schaub, Joe Flacco, Tony Romo.
I'm gonna go with Henne.
As much as I wish it was Chad Henne, it wasn't. Matt Schaub was the number 3 quarterback, throwing for over 4,700 yards.
It's I have in my brain all these little random useless. I wish I could just like kick useless information like this out of my mind and like bring in like stuff that would actually matter. But I have stuff like that like kicking around in my brain like a rock in your shoe or something.
It matters tonight, Jared. It matters.
Yes, there you go. Meanwhile, on the other side, running backs, they were also filled out that year. And even though Father Time Frank Gore didn't make the top 5, these 5 running backs did. Which one was number 1? Was it Adrian Peterson? Was it CJ2K, Chris Johnson? Was it Ray Rice? Was it Maurice Jones-Drew or Joseph Adai?
Let me go with Ray Rice.
Ray Rice, you did okay?
Ray Rice was actually my initial thought too, because I think CJ2K was earlier and I think Rice was big around then. That was going to be my pick too.
The answer is actually CJ2K.
Oh, it was. That was his year.
Yeah. He finished with 2,006 yards.
I thought his year was like 2007 or 2008. I thought it was a year or two earlier.
2008 was his rookie season. He got 1,200 yards that year.
When did Ray Rice like really pop? Because wasn't he like the leading rusher for like the year?
He was the leading rusher for the Ravens for a long time. Let me see. So his first year, he only put up 400 yards, but then after that, it was 1,300, 1,200, 1,300, 1,100.
So
and then his touchdowns at his lowest was 5, but at his highest was 12. Wow. So he was just eerily consistent in terms of yards.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So we're about to wrap up? Yep.
I think I've got 2 more questions, and then we'll be done for the night. So in terms of – wait, make sure I can actually – read my own handwriting. In terms of running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks that rounded out the top 10 that year, this is the harder one. But were there more running backs, wide receivers, or quarterbacks in the top 10 of 2009?
I feel like it's probably not quarterbacks. Otherwise, you wouldn't ask the question. Let's see. I will say running backs because I think we were still like, if we had CJ2K in there that year, then I think, and we were still kind of back in the running backs are still relevant sort of days. I'm gonna go with running backs.
All right, Judah Buddha.
Yeah, running backs.
So actually, this is kind of funny. There were 4 running backs and 4 wide receivers that year.
Trick question.
Yeah, that was sorry, I had to throw one of them in there. Of course, CJ2K, Rice, MJD, Adrian Peterson were the top 4 running backs. Top 4 wide receivers were Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Reggie Wayne, and Andre Johnson.
Oh yeah, that's why Schaub had such a good year.
Yeah.
And then to finish off, of course, the most important position on the field, the kicker. What kicker scored? No, I'm kidding. The quarterback. What quarterbacks scored the most in 2009? Was it Matt Schaub, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, or Brett Favre? Number 1 quarterback.
Who goes first?
I've lost count at this time. I think it's you.
I'm going to go with A-Ron, my man.
All
I
right.
think that was a huge year for him. Did they win the Super Bowl that year?
No, that was at the end of that season. The New Orleans Saints kicked an onside kick at the beginning of the second half and then went in to beat the Colts in the Super Bowl that year.
I think that was the year that Favre went off with the Vikings, so I'm going to say Favre.
I forgot about Favre.
Yeah. And so the answer is, despite the fact that Favre did have a really, really big year, Aaron Rodgers was the number one quarterback.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the number one quarterback?
He was the number one quarterback of 2009. Yes.
Yeah.
And
how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
If I can grab the stats, I had it up real quick to let you know just who threw for the most yards. Okay, yeah. So Aaron Rodgers threw for 4,400 yards, 7 picks, and 30 touchdowns.
Wow.
And then he ran for 5 more. So, it's an average year for him. Yeah.
Nice.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning into the first ever annual Rotohackers quiz show. I don't have a name for it. I'm sorry. And your champion is the absolute stud by a score of 2-0. Actually, no, I'll do the thing. It's Jared!
Ooh, that was good.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Where's my wallet?
That was fun. That was good.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
So let's see. So I guess now we're about, by Saturday, we'll be, let's see, what, still 3 weeks away from the draft? When's the draft?
April 23rd.
Oh, so two weeks, maybe? No, yeah, it'll still
April
be.
1st tomorrow.
Still be 3 weeks. So I don't know when we want to start talking draft stuff, but
we should probably start pretty soon.
We don't have free agent content anymore.
Yeah. So when does the second free agent burst happen? That's right after the draft? Or right
I don't know that there is a second free agent burst. Really, we're just kind of waiting on some of these guys like Cam and Jameis may have to wait until after the draft to find a landing spot. But I don't know if they'll be really other than those. I mean, those will be. I mean, they're big players, so you could call that a burst. Yeah.
I think I remember last year there being quite a burst after the draft because more things were settled.
So maybe next week, or Saturday, want to come in with the best spots for people like Newton, Winston, etc. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, guys, I got to roll.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to end us off on another episode of the Rotohackers podcast. My name, and with the terrible lighting, which I apologize for, is AJ. My name is AJ Herschel, also known as the Kid. That right there is the man, the myth, the legend, Judah Buddha. And over here, your Rotohackers quiz champion, the absolute stud. It's Jared. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time on another episode of Rotohackers on Saturday. Help us all in the quarantine.